Welcome to today's lesson on factoring. Today I'm going to teach you what a factor is, and then I'm going to teach you how to find all of the factors for a number. Let's go ahead and get started. To begin today's lesson, we're going to use dots to try to create rectangular arrays for the number 6. And we're going to figure out how many ways we can arrange these dots into even columns and rows to create the number 6. So let's go ahead and let's start with our first row. As you can see, we have 6 rows with 1 dot in each row. So we know that 6 times 1 equals 6 because we have 6 dots in all with 1 dot in each row. But can we draw this another way? Well, we can say that we have 1 row with 6 dots in each row. So we know that 1 times 6 will equal 6 dots in all. We just changed 6 rows into 1 row of 6. But again, can we show this in a different way? Now we have 2 rows with 3 dots each. So that tells us that 2 times 3 equals 6. And then we can also turn this array around and say that we have 3 rows with 2 dots each. So 3 times 2 equals 6. So we used rectangular arrays to try to find all of the ways that we could multiply whole numbers together to equal a value of 6. And there aren't any other rectangular arrays that we can create to equal the number 6. So what we just did is we found the factors for the number 6. Factors are two numbers that you multiply together to equal a product. So we found that the factors for the number 6 are 6 and 1, and we already have 1 and 6 listed, so we also have 2 and 3, and again 2 and 3 are already listed. So now we're going to list our factors for the number 6. Our factors are 1, 2, 3, and 6. We know that we can multiply 1 times 6 to equal 6, or 6 times 1 to equal 6. We know that we can multiply 2 times 3 to equal 6, or 3 times 2 to equal 6. But there aren't any other whole numbers that we can multiply together to equal the number 6. So we have now found our factors. When you're working with larger numbers trying to find factors, it can be helpful to create a factor rainbow. So let's go ahead and let's start with the number 24 and find the factors for this number. When you're creating a factor rainbow, you always start with the number 1. You always can multiply the number 1 by the number itself as factors. So 1 times 24 and 24 times 1 both equal 24. And we're going to connect these two with a rainbow. Now we're going to move to our next number, the number 2. Since we can multiply 2 times 12, or 12 times 2 to equal 24, we're going to list those as factors and then connect them in our rainbow. Let's go ahead and try our next number. We can multiply 3 times 8, or 8 times 3, to equal the number 24. And then we have the number 4. We can multiply 4 times 6, or 6 times 4, to equal 24. Now we're up to the number 5. We can't multiply the number 5 by anything to equal 24, and 6 is already listed. So we've now listed all of our factors for the number 24. One more strategy that you can use for finding factors is listing out the actual multiplication. For example, if we wanted to find the factors for the number 18, we could just start listing 1 times 18, 2 times 9, 3 times 6, and since we can't multiply anything by 4 or 5, and 6 is already listed as a factor, we've now listed all of the factors for the number 18. Now we want to organize our information and write it from least to greatest. So the factors for the number 18 are 1, 2, 3, 6, 9, and 18. Let's go ahead and practice what you've learned in today's lesson. I want you to find all of the factors for the number 36 and then list them in order from least to greatest. Let's go ahead and get started. To get 36, you can multiply 1 times 36, 2 times 18, 3 times 12, 4 times 9. You can't multiply anything by 5, but you can multiply 6 times 6. So now we have to list all of these numbers in order from least to greatest. So the factors for 36 are 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 9, 12, 18, and 36. Let's try another problem together. I want you to find all of the factors for the number 44. Let's go ahead and get started. We're always going to start with the number 1, so 1 times 44 and 44 times 1 equal 44. Let's move on to the number 2. We can multiply 2 times 22, or 22 times 2 to equal 44. You can't multiply anything by 3, but you can multiply 4 times 11, or 11 times 4 to equal 44. Now we can't multiply anything by 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, or 10, and since we have 11 already listed as a factor, we've now listed all of the factors for the number 44. And they're already in order from least to greatest. Let's take a moment to review what you've learned in today's lesson. Factors are the numbers that you multiply together to equal a product. For example, 1 times 12 equals a product of 12. So 1 and 12 are the factors. When you're trying to find the factors of a number, you want to list out each of the different ways that you can multiply whole numbers together to equal that product. So to get 12, we can multiply 1 times 12, or 12 times 1, 2 times 6, or 6 times 2, and you can multiply 3 times 4, or 4 times 3. There aren't any other whole numbers that you can multiply together to equal a product of 12. And lastly, you need to list them in order from least to greatest once you've found all the factors. So the factors for 12 are 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 12.